Okay, Shavua Tov, everyone. So this shiur will be dedicated to the Ilui Neshama of Moshe HaKohen ben Brocha, and the topic is just appropriate. We're going to speak about something that is one of the basic principles in Judaism, and this is life after life. As you know, one of the 13 principles is Meitim Yechaye El Berov Chasdo. We're saying this in Yigdal Elokim Chai. Tchiyat HaMeitim. One of the 13 principles that when a person reaches 120 and the Neshama separate the body, it's not the last stop. It's not the end. The Neshama separate the body, the Neshama goes and waits until the time of Tchiyat HaMeitim. So what we will try to cover, we'll see how much we will be able to cover, is the information that we have in the Torah about what happened to the Neshama when the Neshama separated the body. I have to tell you that this topic is more than just, people are interested in this. It's much more than interesting. It's very important to understand. Because when you really understand it, the entire view on life gonna change for the right way. Therefore, it's very important to learn this topic. Okay, we'll see how much we'll be able to cover. We'll start from the first time in the Torah that the word Neshama mentioned. The first time the word Neshama mentioned in the Torah is in Sefer Bereshit, the second chapter, Pasuk Zayin, Vayitzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama, vayipach be'apav nishmat chayim, vayi ha'adam lenefesh chaya. If we'll summarize the information, Adam is a dual being. Adam is a combination of physical and spiritual. Dust from earth, that was the ingredients of Hashem to build the body of a human being. But Hashem add to this, put in the body Neshama. And the Neshama called Nishmat Chayim. It's not just a Neshama. The Neshama is the life. The Neshama gives the life to the body of the human being. I can't go to it now. It's a long thing. All these things could be, I could give series of maybe 10 classes about the Neshama and the body and the interaction, the connection between them. What I could say in general, that you have to know that only human being has a Neshama. Only human beings. Animals doesn't have a Neshama. And the plants and everything, only human beings. There is something, and that would make it so complicated, that's called reincarnation, Gilgul Neshama. And then, in such a case, in few of the cases, the Neshama that's going to come back to this world could go to an animal, to a plant, to something else, but not because this thing needs a Neshama. The Neshama is there like you put a person in a prison, in jail. The jail is not the house of him. He has to be punished. So could be that the Neshama will be an animal and other things, but not because the animal has a Neshama or need a Neshama. It's just hosting the Neshama as in jail for the punishment of this person that need to be in Gilgul. So Neshama is exclusive to a human being. And the Neshama called Nishmat Chaim. Another major thing that you have to remember, when you read the Torah in the beginning, you see that Hashem created Adam. As it says here. When Hashem created Adam, He created him not in order to kill him, but in order for him to stay alive forever. Hashem gave him one mitzvah, and He told him, don't eat from this tree, Etz Hadat Tovara. If you will eat from this, you'll die. Meaning that if Adam was listening to Hashem and not listening to the Nachash, you will never die. So that's what I mean, that Hashem created Adam in order to make him exist forever, not to kill him. He brought on himself, because he sinned, the death. But even in this case, the death, as we said, is not the last stop. The death is the separation. What is life? Life is when the body and the soul are together. What is death? When this body and the soul separated, when the neshama separate the body. Now what happened to the body when the neshama separate from it? We put it in the grave. We could open the grave after, sometimes we'll see that it's decayed, but what happened to the neshama? Even when the neshama is inside of us, we do not see the neshama. I never saw my neshama. I don't see your neshama. You never saw any neshama. The neshama is there, but you do not see it. When a person reaches the time that they have to depart from this world, what we see the body. We do not see the neshama. The neshama was inside. Now the neshama is outside, but the neshama never died. So what happened to the neshama when the neshama separated the body? This is the big thing, and this is the thing that I'll try to speak about today. I want to move, after we learned what we learned, meaning, let's summarize it again. A human being is a body and a soul. Hashem created Adam in order to make him alive, exist forever. He brought on himself temporary punishment called separation until Tchiyat HaMetim. Now we'll go to another pasuk in the Tanakh. It's in Sefer Kohelet. At the end of Sefer Kohelet, the last chapter, it says in pasuk Zayin, Perek Yud-Bet Kohelet, וישוב העפר על הארץ כשהיה, והרוח תשוב אל האלוקים אשר נתנה. The dust will return to the ground as it was, and the spirit returned to God, who gave it. What's written here? Hisharut nefesh, that the neshama never died. It goes back to Hashem. But what? How? What do you mean that the neshama goes to Hashem? Let me ask a few questions that I'm sure everyone will be interested of the answer of those questions. When the neshama separate the body and go to Hashem, does the neshama has all the memory of the thing that when she was with the body, all the memories, all the things that this person used to love, think, what's in this neshama? When the neshama separates the body, the neshama has any connection with this world? Is the neshama has connection with the children, with the family members, with the friends that the neshama left in this world? Is the neshama interested altogether of what's going on here? And where is the neshama exactly? How the neshama exists? So all those are very interesting questions. We have to know, in general, a rule that the Torah is an information that Hashem gave us. In the Torah, there are two major aspects. There is a revealed part of the Torah, which is the nigle, but there is a hidden part of the Torah, the nistar. If you divide it more, there is a pardes, pshat, remez, drash, vesod. In general, as a general rule, because the Torah are instruction for us to know what to do and what not to do, therefore, in general, the Torah speaks about obvious things that we, the living people here on this world, could relate to. The hidden stuff, mentioned in the Torah by one word or few words, no details, in the pshat. So, examples. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. What shamayim? Shamayim is not the blue thing that you see, not here in New York, because most of the year we have clouds, right? But it's not the blue sky. Aretz is not planet Earth. Aretz is the physical dimension in the universe. Shamayim is the spiritual dimension in the universe. What do we know about the Shamayim? Nothing. Shamayim, the meaning of the word in the depth, you know that the letter is Yud and Mem. At the end of any Hebrew word, Yud and Mem, it always make the singular plural. Yad, Yadayim. רגל, רגליים, אוזן, אוזניים, כתף, כתפיים, ברך, ברכיים, whatever, right? Yud Mem is always make it double. So according to this, we find the letters Yud and Mem in the word Shamayim, right? So what is the base? If Yud Mem is just to double it, what's the base? The base of the letter Shin and Mem. Shin and Mem is there. Sham. Sham. What is Sham? Sham is everything that is there and not here. Everything that's not here is there. What is here? Here is not like things that in this room. Here is everything that I could grasp or understand. This is a here. So what Hashem told us, when you look at the world, you look at the creation that I created, don't think that you get it. You see only part of it. There is a lot of sham. There is a lot of there, hidden things that you could not understand. It's not in your ability to get, but it's there. This is Shamayim. Shamayim is a spiritual dimension. We could not see spiritual. We could see our senses give us access to physical, but not to spiritual. The spiritual exists, but it's there, away from our understanding. And this is the spiritual dimension. Sure enough, if you take a human being, the human being has a guf, a body, and a soul, right? How do you say soul in Lashon HaKodesh? Neshama. If you take the first letter and the last letter, you'll find the letter Shem. Nun, Shin, Mem, Sham, Shem. So it's the same thing. The Neshama is Sham. Therefore, I could not see it. Not my Neshama, not your Neshama. It's away. It's Sham, not in a distance. It's a distance of understanding. Okay? So, the information that we have in the Torah about the Neshama is not in the pshat of the Torah. It's not in the simple level. But there is so much information in the hidden level, in the Kabbalah, in the secret. So we'll try to get into this information. For that, I need you be patient. I'll give you more sources from different places, and then different places in the Torah, and then we'll try to analyze them. So look at this Gemara. This Gemara in Masechet Yevamot Daf Samech Gimel, the Gemara says, "En Mashiach ben David ba ad sheyichlu kol haneshamot shebaguf." Let me explain. It's not easy to explain this. You easily could misunderstand it. Mashiach ben David. We are all waiting for Mashiach. Mashiach is the person that again Hashem promised to send to redeem the world. Us, of course, Bnei Israel, Am Israel, but the world, the entire world. Mashiach is the person. He is the descendant of David HaMelech, and he gonna come, and when he will come, all the problems will be over. Personal, national, the world, everything will be over. Mashiach ben David. Says the Gemara, Mashiach will not come until Kol haneshamot shebaguf yichlu. What is this? So first, let's understand the words. What is guf? Guf is not what we think, body. Our body called guf in Lashon HaTorah. By the way, you know why? Why the guf called guf? Because it's a cover. In Lashon HaKodesh, when you have a pot and you have a cover for the pot, the cover of the pot called megufat asir. Megufat asir, megufat achavit, the cover. In Lashon Mishnah, in Elu Metziot, someone went and in the street finds something, you have to return it, right? If there are signs. But only if you find it in a way that the person who lost it will not be giving up. So if you find it in Reshut Arabim and million people going there, you do not have to return it because the person who lost it knows that there is no chance that he will get it back. So he's mityayesh, he's giving it up. So the Mishnah bring a case, a very interesting case. What if we find it achar hagapa or achar hagader? And those are the words. Gapa, achar hagapa, meaning a little fence. It's not in the middle of the street. It's near a fence. It's called achar hagapa. Again, gapa is a megufai. According to this, what is a guf? Guf is a cover. It's like you have a package, and there is a cover of the package. The cover of the package is the guf. What is the package? The neshama that inside. So when you look at the mirror, and you think you see yourself, you do not see yourself. You see the package, the thing that wrapped it. Okay, this is guf. What is the meaning here in this Gemara? En Mashiach ben David ba ad sheyichlu kol haneshama shebaguf. Let's see Rashi. This Gemara, as I said, it's in Masechet Yevamot, but it's also quoted this same line in Masechet Nida Daf Yud Gimel. And Rashi explained both. And let's start from what he said in Masechet Nida on this line. En Mashiach ben David ba ad sheyichlu kol haneshama shebaguf. Says Rashi, guf cheder. שם מקום המיוחד לנשמות העתידים להיות נולדים. חדר, חדר is a room. What is a room? Room is a place with walls around. A container. So here he speaks about not physical container, but spiritual container that is there, up there. It's called Olam HaNeshamot. And over there, all the neshamot, all the souls that was created, I'll show you later, that was created in Sheshet Yimei Bereshit, all the souls that gonna be at certain point in the world are there since the 6th day of the creation. It's a place that over there are the neshamot. Now, all those neshamot, ha'atidim liyot noladim, that they gonna be born with a body in this world, all those neshamot are there, and they're waiting for their time to come to this world. Mashiach will never come before all of the neshamot that there will come and enter a body of a human being. Could be a Jew, a non-Jew, but all the neshamot must come. If not, Mashiach will not come. That was the meaning of this line. En Mashiach ben David ba ad sheyichlu kol haneshama shebaguf. Says Rashi, what's guf? Cheder, a room. Shem makom hamiyuchad laneshama ha'atidim liot noladim. That's what he said in Masechet Nida. In Masechet Yevamot, he adding more thing, and to really understand it, you need to know some Kabbalah. Let's see what Rashi says. That's what he said on Masechet Yevamot. Guf, pargod. What's pargod? Pargod is a curtain. Again, a divider, a curtain. So here he said a room. Here he said pargod, which is a curtain. But he add more information. Interesting. גוף פרגוד שחוצץ בין שכינה למלאכים, ושם רוחות ונשמות נתונות, שנבראו מששת ימי בראשית, העתידות להינתן בגופים, העתידים להיברות. So let me translate it, and more than translate literally, we have to understand the concepts. Guf is a curtain. There is a curtain up there, upstairs in the Shamayim. We're not talking about any physical thing. Forget about physical. It's all parables. When we talk about curtain, we understand physical curtain. But over there is something called curtain. שחוצץ בין שכינה למלאכים. What is this? What's Shechina? What's Malachim? Where is it? Where is this divider? So in brief, I have to tell you that this shiur, and actually all my classes, are not entertaining. You're not going to laugh a lot, not because it's sad, but because it's serious. It's a lot of information. That's my style. I hope you'll like it. So, we have to learn information, okay? So imagine a building, let's say, with 4 stories, okay? A 4-story building, each one of them has a name. 4 names. The initials of the name are Aleph, Bet, Yud, Ayin, Abiyah. The 4th floor, called Olam HaAtzilut. That's the name of it, Atzilut. The 3rd floor, called Olam HaBri'ah. The 2nd floor is Olam HaYetzirah, and the lower floor is Olam HaAsiyah. So, when it says in the Torah, in the Pshat of the Torah, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, this shamayim va'aretz divided to 4. 2 divide to 4, it's not that 2 and 2. It's 3 and something, and what left from the lowest. Shamayim are, as we said before, Shamayim is a spiritual things that you do not have really ability to understand. It's spiritual. So Olam HaAtzilut, Olam HaBriya, Olam HaYetzira, all the 3 up floors are spiritual completely. Nothing physical in them. Nothing. All the physicality that we have in the entire universe are in the lower part called Olam HaAsiya. We are in Olam HaAsiya because we have a body. And any physical must be in Olam HaAsiya. So we are in Olam HaAsiya. Above us, there is another world, another realm. Actually, it's not a world. It's not a planet or something. It's a dimension. Another realm called Olam HaYetzira. Yetzira. Above it, there is another realm called Olam HaBriya. So, Olam HaAsiya, Yetzira, and Briya. Olam HaYetzira, the word above us, above again, it's not physical place. Above meaning it's higher than us in the quality of it. Olam HaYetzira is the world of the Malachim. The angels are in the world above us, the second floor. The third floor, above the Malachim, this realm called Olam HaBriya, and over there are a few things. There is something called Shorshei HaKochot. Okay, just the title. And Neshamot. The Neshamot are there in Olam HaBriya. Olam HaBriya called also Olam Kiseh HaKavod. The Kiseh HaKavod is the throne of the king, which is Hashem. So Olam HaKiseh, when Yeshayahu says in Perek Vav, Ra'iti et Hashem Yoshev al Kiseh Ram Venisa, he speaks about the Olam HaBriya. That's called Olam HaKiseh. Now, if you heard, if not, I'll tell you now, Chazal said that Nishmot Israel, the Jewish souls, Chatzuvot mitachat Kiseh HaKavod. They are there in Olam HaBriya, but in the top of Olam HaBriya. Each one of those realms divided to 10, which is the 10 Sfirot. So the top of Olam HaBriya is the place where Nishmot Israel are from there. Now, as we said, Olam HaBriya is the third floor. The second floor is Olam HaMalachim. Is the angel world, the angel realm. The divider between Olam HaBriya and Olam HaMalachim, this is this pargod that Rashi speaks about here. Pargod shechotzetz ben shchina lamalachim. Vesham ruchot u'neshamot netunot. Over there, the neshamot are there in Olam HaBriya, above Olam HaMalachim, when there is a pargod, a separation, a curtain. Okay? Now says Rashi, shenivreu misheshet yimei bereshit. Let's explain this thing. What is the meaning that שהנשמות נבראו בששת ימי בראשית? What's the Torah told us about what happened in Sheshet Yemei Bereshit? As we said, the word Neshama mentioned, right? When? In the 6th day of the creation. In the 6th day of the creation, what happened? ויצר השם אלוקים, that was in the 6th day. ויצר השם אלוקים את האדם עפר מן האדמה, ויפח באפיו נשמת חיים. Then Hashem created the Neshama. Before that, there was no Neshamos. This is the time, the only time that the Neshama was created in the 6th day of the creation. And Hashem created one Neshama. The Neshama of Adam. That's it. When Hashem created Chava in the same day, but later on, the beginning he created Adam, right? After that he said, Lo tov heyot Adam levado, and he created Chava. If you look at the Psukim, you will see that it says that Vayapel Hashem tardema al Adam. Hashem put him into anesthesia. So he was sleeping. And then he created Chava. How he created Chava? The Torah says, ויקח אחת מצלותיו, ויסגור בשר תחתנה, ויבן השם אלוקים את הצלה, אשר לקח מן האדם לאישה. So, what is the description? About how the body of Chava was created. When Hashem created Adam, it says, the body and the soul. ויצר השם אלוקים את האדם עפר מן האדמה. This is the body. And then he put into it Neshama. When at the description of Brias Chava, Chava was not created from dust. She created from the bone of Adam, but that's it. No more information about Chava. Where the Neshama of Chava came from? The answer is, again, it's not in the Pshat, but in the Kabbalah. Hashem divided the Neshama of Adam. Hashem created only one Neshama, the Neshama of Adam. He divided the Neshama of Adam, and he put it in the body of Chava. So, Adam and Chava are actually one Neshama in two bodies. Okay? Fine. So where all the Neshamas of all the people that are going to be in the history came from? Okay, this is another piece of information that we have to learn. When Adam and Chava was commanded by Hashem not to eat from Esadat Tovara, and Hashem told them, if you will eat, you're going to die. And they ate. And this is a whole big story about why they sinned, who was the Nachash, what happened there. It's all big thing. Ifshar, I can't put everything in one night. I know it's very, it's not fair in a way, but you cannot. You know, you ask a Jew, you like wisdom? They say, yes, of course. I want to learn the entire wisdom. The problem is that you want to do it in one night and still sleep in this night. It's impossible. You have to learn. You have to learn and take time. So, בהזדמנות אחרת, another opportunity, maybe we'll talk about this. It's very, very interesting information. Very. Anyways, what happened? Adam and Chava sinned. And when they sinned, they caused damage to their body and the soul. But the soul could not be damaged because the soul is spiritual and you could not damage the soul. But there is something, because the soul was inside the body and the decision was made by the entire Adam, the entire Guf and Neshama, was something called spiritual damage, but this spiritual damage has to be fixed. What happened over here? Has to be fixed. It could not stay there. So what happened, in the Kabbalah books it says, that what happened to the Neshama was exploded. When they commit the sin, the Neshama was exploded to billion sparks. Billions of sparks. Called in the Kabbalah, Nitzotzot Nishmat Adam Arishon. Nitzotzot is sparks. If you take all the sparks and put them together, you'll get the Neshama of Adam. Adam and Chava, because it was one Neshama that was divided to two bodies, right? Each one of those sparks is damaged spark. And it has to be fixed. And because Adam and Chava commit or made this damage, they have to do it. But they could not do it because they're going to die. So Hashem told them, okay, you know what? That's what's going to happen from now on. I made in you ability to multiply. The Gemara in Masechet Kiddushin says, Shlosha shutafim ba'adam. 3 partners in every human being. The father, the mother, and Hashem. What's the father and the mother? The father and the mother is the DNA that comes from the seed and the egg, right? So all the information about how the baby's body gonna be is in the DNA, the combination from the father and the mother. So the father and the mother actually are in charge of the physical part of a human being. The Neshama we do not get from our father and mother. The Neshama we get straight from Hashem. Where we get this Neshama from? So you have to know, this is dramatic information. Our Neshama, each one of us, is much, much older than our body. All the Neshamas of all the people Nivreu in the 6th day of the creation, and it was part of the Neshama of Adam. By the sin they divided, and they are in this room, Cheder, Pargod, they are there waiting for their time to come to this world. Now, every Neshama has different kind of damage. And this is the tikkun. If you ever heard about this notion, what's the tikkun? What's my tikkun? What's the tikkun of the world? So the tikkun is this. Every Neshama at their time, and Hashem chose the right time, And he chose a lot of things. You know, no one asked us if we want to be born. No one asked us, who do we want as our parents? No one asked us, where in the world we're going to be born? What time in the history? No one asked us. Hashem decided this based on what? This neshama comes to this world for a purpose, to enter a body and make the tikkun. The best conditions for this neshama to be succeeded, to do the tikkun, Hashem knows, and according to this, he put this neshama in a man, in a lady, in a Jew, in a non-Jew. Every neshama has a purpose. And everything that happened to the person during their lifetime is part of this tikkun. Of course, the best way to be mitaken is to, Hashem gave us ability to think. And like Avraham Avinu, you can have no excuses. No one taught me. Avraham Avinu was in the worst case. No one taught him nothing. He, by himself, verified the truth. And therefore, everyone in the world could and should do this. Why we are here? What is the world? How it's become to existence? And verify that there is God. If there is God, there is a plan. What is the plan? How do we know about the plan? So we have to verify that God revealed himself in Ma'amad Har Sinai to the Jews. And he gave the Torah. And through the Torah, you could know what to do. So the best way to do the tikkun is to verify the truth and work accordingly. And when it's hard for me, this is my tikkun. This is my tikkun. That's the best way to do the job in this world. But this is the general picture of what's going on. Okay? So every neshama of every human being actually was created as part of the neshama of Adam Rishon. And this is the meaning, שנבראו מששת ימי בראשית, העתידות להינתן בגופים העתידים להיברות. So they are there, waiting for their time to come. Of course, it's very complicated. As I mentioned before, there is such a concept called reincarnation, meaning that the neshama could come more than one time. So to answer the questions about this, we have to discuss it and to learn a lot of information that it's not the time right now, even though all the answers are there. You just need to learn them, right? Okay, so where Rashi took it from? As I said, to understand this Rashi, you need to know the entire Torah. You have to know the secret of the Torah. I'll show you something not in the secret yet, but in the Midrash. See, this is Rashi on the Gemara. Here's the Midrash. Midrash Tanchuma Parashat Pkudei. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. You bring a pasuk in Iyov. Mai dichtiv, עושה גדולות עד אין חקר ונפלאות עד אין מספר. עושה גדולות עד אין חקר, meaning Hashem did make amazing great things. You could not even go to the bottom of it. עד אין חקר. ונפלאות עד אין מספר. Says the Medrash on this pasuk, תדע לך שכל הנשמות שהיו מן אדם הראשון ושיהיו עד סוף כל העולם, כולם נבראו בששת ימי בראשית וכולם היו במתן תורה. כולם, it means the Jews, the Jewish neshamas, היו במתן תורה. So this is the source of Rashi. Rashi didn't wake up in the morning and made up stuff. Chas v'shalom. It's lo tosif. It was given to Moshe Rabbeinu in the third deep level. Pshat, Remes, Drash. This is the Midrash. So it's in the Nevuah in Sefer Iyov, and the Midrash just explained this. What is the Niflaot? What is the Gdolot? That all the Neshamot was created in the sixth day of the creation, in the sixth day, and they were there in Ma'amad Har Sinai. So every Jew, you have to know, every Jew was there. Not in the physical body, but the Neshama was there. And when we said Nasa v'Nishma, we all said that. You could not say, how could you blame me that my grandparents said that? You were there too, if you're Jewish. Okay. So according to this, now let's analyze the information that we just learned. According to this, every neshama has three major states. First state of the neshama, that the neshama is up there, never was here, waiting for its time to come here. So the neshama is not connected to any body. To a body. It's not neshama. The neshama is not connected to the body. It's a spiritual entity. It's waiting there. But it exists. It exists as a neshama. This is state number 1. מצבה של הנשמה קודם היותה בגוף. State number 2, when the time comes that the neshama will come to this world, and the neshama started, by the way, you know what, I'll mention this too. As I said, the Gemara says, שלושה שותפים באדם, 3 partners. When the father and the mother started to be partners in this particular baby, not in the time of the delivery, at the time of the conception. When the seed meet the egg and start the process, then start the partnership between the father and the mother. The third partner gives the neshama at the same time. Therefore, the neshama is in the fetus from day 1, from the conception. You have to know this. Fine. So the neshama will be with the body in this 9 months, then it will be delivered, then it will live in this world. ימי שנותינו בהם 70 שנה, ואם בגבורות 80 שנה, עד 120. A person here until Hashem decided that it's time for the neshama to go back up. So, state number 2 was the neshama is in the body. State number 3, when the neshama separates the body after 120, and then the neshama goes, as we said, up there, back to this room of the neshamot, waiting until Tchiyat HaMetim. This is the basic 3 states. Again, there is a situation of reincarnation. I will not go to it now. If you want, this is a whole shiur by itself. Not one shiur. What a Gilgul Neshama, seriously, with the serious information. You know, there are many stories that people heard about Gilgul Neshamas. This is a very sensitive issue, and we have to know what the Jewish opinion about it. From my experience, everyone who talks about reincarnation take the information not from Jewish sources, but from the Far East or whatever. Not the Jewish information has a lot of information, but it's very complicated. Ari HaKadosh wrote, he didn't wrote, his disciple, Rav Chaim Vital, wrote in his name, a whole book called Sha'ar HaGilgulim. It's a big book with all the details about the Gilgulim. But you have to know it. If not, if you do not know the right information, you just make assumption that's not true, and you're going to be confused. Anyways, so there are 3 states of the neshama. In 2 of them, the neshama is not connected to a body. State number 1 and state number 3. Only in state number 2, the neshama is in the body. But this information is a general information about these 3 states of the body, of the neshama. There actually are another 2, aside from these 3. State number 4 is Tchiyat HaMetim. Tchiyat HaMetim, sorry. We are in a Sephardic show right here. Tchiyat HaMetim. Okay, what is Tchiyat HaMetim? When the neshama come back to the body that's going to be revived, and that by itself, again, it's a whole big thing. How the body going to be revived? The same body. It's not a new body. It's not a new body. If it will be a new body, it will not be Tchiyat HaMetim. It will be a new creation. It's the same body. The same body that was here in the world 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. The body has something that left from it. It's called Etzem HaLuz, the bone that's called luz. And from this bone, the entire body going to be built the way it was, and the neshama going to come back to it. That will be in Tchiyat HaMetim. So this state number 4. State number 5 is Olam Haba. Olam Haba, you have to know, is not for souls only. It's for souls and a body. Yep. It's for souls and a body. I'll just explain this. You know what? I don't know. I was very not practical when I thought that I'm going to speak here about life after life, because we see all these things takes time. But let me just add another one thing. We will get to life after life soon. But this particular thing, you have to know. Olam Haba, what is Olam Haba? Olam Hazeh, says the Mishnah in Masechet Avot, is like a prosdor b'fnei Olam Haba. It's like a hallway. To the main thing is the traklim, is the living room, the real living room, living forever room. In this world, The neshama in the body here is to work and to do free will in order to gain their merit for themselves to exist. They both working, the body and the soul. Therefore, the reward will be given to both. To both. It's not fair that the neshama will get all the benefits, right? So how the body going to exist forever? We have to know again that, as I said in the beginning, when Hashem created Adam, He created him in order for him to be living forever. So before the sin, was the quality of the body that Hashem created for Adam was that it will not be a body the way we know it today that must die because it's getting tired, getting not working. No, He created a perfect body that in a way has the quality of not being limited by time, staying forever. That what the body that we know today is the body that was caused by the sin. It's diminished, it become mortal. So in Tchias HaMeitim, when will be Tchiat HaMeitim, the body will be rebuilt in a quality that Adam Rishon had before the sin. And therefore it will exist forever. Like, let's say, Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was in the 40 days in the mountain, he didn't eat, he didn't drink, he didn't have all the limits of physical. Eliyahu Hanavi went with his body up, right? He never died. His body never died. It upgraded to the quality that could exist forever. And this is Olam Haba. So this is state number 5. So we got it. We got 3 states and 3 states that we all know before, when the neshama is in the body, when the neshama separates the body. But it's not the end. It will be Tchiat HaMeitim. This is state number 4, when the neshama come back to the body. And then state number 5, that will stay with it forever for those who have chelek, a portion for the world to come. Okay. Fine. Let's say we finish the Hagdama for the shiur. Now, I will, in brief, will touch something very, very interesting. What is the information that we have, and I'll give you the sources, from the Tanakh, from the Gemara, from the Mishnah, from the Kabbalah, from the Zohar, from the Kitvei Ari. What happened to Neshama when the Neshama separated the body? But I don't want to do it simple. I want to do it in a very professional way. As you know, maybe you know, there are areas in science that they try to research these things. There is a non-physical dimension or anything in a human being. There are certain areas that researched by scientists. I will touch one of them today. This is something that's called NDE. NDE is initials of near-death experience. Did you ever heard about this? I'm not asking if you experienced it. Did you ever heard it? NDE. Let me just, it's very important to really understand the way it is. You know, in Hebrew, they translate it to Mavet Klini. Mavet Klini meaning medical death. Mavet Klini. It's not accurate and it's misleading. It's misleading. Near-death experience, it's the way it is. Near death. It's not a death, but it's near death. Very close to death. What are we talking about? We're talking about someone, chas v'shalom, who are involved, let's say, in a car accident, or died, or stopped the heart stopped working during, let's say, operation in the hospital. When the EKG is connected to him, and you know there is a straight line. The heart is not pumping anymore. So this is very serious. It's very close to death, but it's not final until will be a brain death. If there is a brain death, meaning it was the heart, chas v'shalom, stopped to work in a way that no blood reached to the brain, and the brain stopped working, then it's final death. So in between those 2 points, there is very interesting state when the person is in. Now they start to research it. I don't have time now to go to all the what caused or how the researchers started. But if you heard about someone by the name Dr. Raymond Moody, an American doctor that made a big research about this in the 70s. In the 70s. He was a combination of two things. He was a psychiatrist and a physician. A regular physician. So in the 70s, when the technology was not the way it is now, he got many people who get to emergency room, and he was a doctor in the emergency room. So people come after heart attack, stroke, or car accidents, and they came to the emergency room, and he was to check them out, and he see that they need immediately an operation. They send them to the operation room. And in the operation room, in many, many of those cases, it was a heart death, meaning the heart stopped pumping. And as you saw, if you saw movies, you know, there is a way to pump the heart with shocks and other stuff. And they revived the heart. So at the time, we're talking about the mid-70s, the technology was far, far from what is now. But in the hospitals, in the operation rooms, were all the things that need to revive a person. So he was in many cases like this. And because he was a psychologist, psychiatrist, he was with them not just when they have the event. He's not just treating them physically. He was in the recovery room with them later on, and he was with them in the days after. And they told him an amazing story. All of them. They told them that they remember what happened when their hearts stopped to work. And basically what they said, that we saw ourselves, in other words, I see myself above my body. Meaning I could see my body from outside. That's what they say. And they could explain and give information about everything that happened around. If it was in the operation room or it was in the accident, in the car accident, they could describe who talked to who, what they said, how they were dressed and everything. And then they continue and told them about they feel themselves hovering in a tunnel. The tunnel was dark, but at the end of the tunnel was a big, bright light. And they were feeling that they're going toward this light. And in the way, something very interesting happened. They met people who come in the tunnel toward them to accept them. Those people died already, either their relatives or their friends or people that they knew or didn't know, but they came to greet them. And aside from people who come to greet them, they describe a being of light, which is not humans, but also come to accept them. At the end of the tunnel, they describe this light as a supreme being of light, which was big, bright light, but not making them feel uncomfortable. And it radiates love. And they feel that they want to go to be with this light. When they were asked, what do you think this light is? They said, we do not know, but probably it's God. Now, it was not one story. It was a lot of stories. At the time, he wrote a whole book called Life After Life. That was a bestseller. It was translated to 28 languages at the time. So that was an amazing thing, because this is apparently showing from scientists, it's not a Torah or from outside, that there is such a thing, that the Neshama is above or outside of this. So I will have to skip over here because of the time, but I want to show you amazing things. This is Dr. Raymond Moody. This is the book that he wrote. Actually, this is not the book. This is the cover of, if you remember the video cassette in the old time, right? This is the cover of the video cassette, Life After Life. But I want to quote more from a book that he wrote about 8 years after he has this bestseller called The Light Beyond. In this book, he made a thorough work about the information that he got. And we have to know we're talking about 100,000 people in the last 50 years that went through this and was asked, and it was all big researches that was made all over the world. And it doesn't mean, the amazing thing that they all say the same thing about the tunnel and about the light and about seeing themselves above their body. It doesn't matter where they live in the world, what their education is, children, old people, everyone say the same thing. Everyone went through this, okay? So let's see a few things. What I will try to say, to show is what they said and what's written in our sources way before all the research was done, okay? So, okay. Okay, let's start from this. Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. Gemara in Masechet Shabbat b'daf kufnun speaks about how do you have halachically to behave if chas v'shalom you with a person who passed away in the room. So there are halachot, what to do and what not to do. So the Gemara says, be careful when there is a person who just passed away in the room. Be careful of whatever you say because he is listening and knows everything you say, even though he's dead. Look at the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Avahu, כל שאומרים בפני המת יודע עד שיסתם הגולל. The dead person hear everything until you put him in the grave and cover. He hear everything. So the Gemara said that. The Gemara continue over there and bring in a story. Amar לרב שמואל בר שילת. Rav was one of the famous Amoraim, the first generation of the Amoraim. He was a Talmid of Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi. He was by himself a great rabbi. He was the Rav of Sura in Bavel, a big yeshiva. So he has a disciple called Rab Shmuel bar Shilat. So he told him the following. Amar לרב Shmuel bar Shilat, Achim behespeda dehatam kaimna. When Al passed away, said Rav to his Talmid, you're gonna do the eulogy. They will honor you to say a few words about me. Okay? I will be there to hear everything you say. So be responsible to say the right things. You know, sometimes when a person passed away, you know, in the eulogy, he was such a good person, and they say a lot of good stuff about this person, right? You have to know it's very, very important not to say not true things. If you say that he was more than he was, upstairs it will be a big problem to him. So don't exaggerate. Say exactly what's right. Because he is hearing and it's... Okay? So the Gemara says. So we find here in this Gemara, in Daf Kuf Nun Bet and Daf Kuf Nun Gimel, the Gemara said clearly, the dead person here and aware of what's going on. Now let me show you something. Dr. Moody, he made a research about this. From the book, The Light Beyond, he described something amazing that happened here in New York, in Long Island. Let me give you the details before in order to really understand how amazing it is. It was a case of a lady, 70 years old, 70. She had a heart attack and they revived her. But the story with this particular lady, she was blind since she was at the age of 18. 52 years she was blind. It was, I don't know, illness or something she could not see. So she was 70 years old, right? The last time she could see was 52 years ago. And we're talking about the 70s. So this is her story. Look at this. In Long Island, a 70 years old woman who had been blind since the age of 18 was able to describe in a vivid details what was happening around her as the doctors resuscitate her after a heart attack. Not only could she describe what instrument use looked like, but she could describe their colors. Now, those machines that was in the room, the most amazing thing about this to me was that the most of the instruments were not even thought of over the 50 years ago when she could last see. On the top of all, she was able to tell the doctor that he was wearing a blue suit when he began the resuscitation. So you have to understand, she was blind, she dead. She saw things above her body, not through her physical eyes. And what's the proof? When they revived her, the neshama went back to the body. She's still blind. They didn't solve the problem of the sight, of the vision, right? So the only time that she could see is the time that the neshama was out of the body. And she described in details what was in the room, the colors of the instrument, and those instruments were not invented. She could not imagine them. And she spoke about a specific thing, that the doctor was called, and he was not in his uniform. He came with a blue suit when he started, and later on he put the white thing on him. So this is an amazing thing. When she could know this? Only at the time when she was out of her body. So that's one of this amazing things that he brings in his book. Another thing, it's a Gemara now in Talmud Yerushalmi. Masechet Moed Katan Daf Yudalet. The Gemara speaks about something amazing. I don't have explanation to all of this, but that's what the Gemara says. Look at this. Kol Tlat Yomin. All the first 3 days after the neshama separated the body, after a person passed away, Nafsha Taisa Al Gufa. The soul floats, hovering over the body. Very interesting, hovering over the body. The Gemara said that. We're talking about, this information is in our sources, in the Jewish books shelves, 1800 years ago. Not now with the research. So the neshama is, for 3 days, hovering above the body. But look what the Gemara continues to say. Svira de chazra legabei. Thinking that it will still come back into it. The neshama is confused. The neshama do not know what's going on. Because the neshama is aware of itself when it's in the body. She never finds herself, the neshama, out of the body. So when the neshama first is out of the body, she still thinks that she's going in, back. Only after 3 days, sorry about this description, כיוון דאיחמיה דאשתני זיווהון דאפוי, הישב כלה ואזללה. After 3 days, what happened? The feature of the face getting changed. After 3 days. When the neshama realized that the face is changed, then she internalized the fact that she will never back, she is not going to come back to it now at least. Okay? So what we learn from this Gemara? 2 things. When the neshama separates the body, it's above the body, watching it from up, confused. Confused. Look at the description that he gave over here. I'll say it in my words, you could read it over here. Another person who was in a horrible accident was looking, he described, that's what he described after he was revived, right? He described that he remembered himself lingering over his body in the operation table and feeling sorry for the person with no legs or whatever was missing there that was in the table. So 2 things. Above, look, and here's a description of someone who actually went through it, right? He saw himself from above. He didn't realize that this is his body. Only later on he internalized it. Exactly what the Gemara said. So do you understand what's going on over here? We have sources way before all this research. And they describe things, and it ends up that that's exactly what's happening. Another thing, this source is from the Zohar. The Zohar in Parashat Lech Lecha in Sefer Bereshit says the following: מיום שנברא העולם, כל הנשמות שעתידות לעמוד בבני האדם, כולם קיימות לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא. This is very interesting information. באותה הצורה ממש העתידים להיות בעולם. So remember I told you that the neshamas are part of Neshama Sodom Rishon and they're waiting for their time to come to this world? This world add over here an amazing thing. That they are not with a physical body, but they are in a frame, spiritual frame, that look like their body gonna look like when they will be born. Amazing. באותה הצורה ממש שעתידים להיות בעולם. כמו כן, לאחר שנפטרים מן העולם הזה, after a person passed away from this world, כל הנשמות עולות, הנשמות goes up, והקדוש ברוך הוא מזמן להם צורה אחרת להתלבש בה, כאין הצורה שהיו מלובשים בה בעולם הזה. Again, they will go to a spiritual frame, not physical, spiritual, but this spiritual frame will look like the body that they have in this world. Okay. Now there is a story that he brings that happened to him. Dr. Moody, in his book, The Light Beyond, page 8. End years, near-death experienced people often feel fear at the point which then give away to a perfect understanding of what's going on. They had understand that what the doctors and the nurses are convey to each other, even though they frequently have no formal medical training. But they are aware and understanding every discussion that was in the room. But when they try to talk to them or other people present, no one is able to see or hear them, and they got very frustrated. Meaning they have to say also. They have a say. You know, you're going to decide about me. I want to also give you my opinion. And you know what's their opinion? This is an amazing thing by itself. Okay, I got a hint. We're gonna stop soon, and then maybe we'll continue this lecture at some point. Listen, the last thing. People who are suffering. Sometimes people, before they die, they suffer a lot from illness or anything. When they report that when their neshama separate the body, when the neshama is above the body, all their pain stopped immediately. Therefore, when they realize that this doctor wants to bring them back, they do not want to. They do not want to. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to. So they try to say something, but no one could hear them because they are in different realm. No one could hear them, and this very frustrated to them. Look what happened to him. He said, at this point, they may try to attract the attention of the people present by touching them. But when they do so, their hands go right through the person's arm like nothing is there, because it's a different dimension. So actually what he explained here, that they have a hand. They're above their body. They see the physical body from outside. So who are they? Where are they? They are in a different realm with a hand, with a body, but not physical. And when this non-physical body tried to interact the physical, it just go through it, and they could not really draw the attention of the people that they want to talk to. It was described to me by a woman I personally resuscitated. I saw her have a cardiac arrest and immediately started chest massage. She told me after that while I was working to reciting her heart, she was going up above her body, looking down. She was standing behind me, trying to tell me to stop, that she was fine where she was when I didn't hear her. She tried to grab my arm to keep me from inserting a needle in her arm. Her hand passed right through my arm. But when she did that, she later claimed that she felt something that was like a refined gelatin that seems to have an electric current running through it. So she described a non-physical body that she has. exactly what the Zohar said, that they got a different dimension, spiritual, non-physical frame. So all this comparison, and I have much more, but we'll stop over here, just shows that the science during the history will prove things that we were knowing and believe in, but we didn't have a real ground. But here, there is a real ground. It's coming, slowly but surely. So the science is going to get into all what we know. We know it because we got the information from the Creator himself. Now, the researchers support it from different angles, and about this and about other stuff. So that's what we could cover now. We have much more, but there is a limited time or limited capacity that you have to get it, digest it, understand it, and then we'll continue Bezrat Hashem. Who knows when? Shavua Tov. Okay. That's